Ryan Coogler's Sinners, the musical. Yeah, that's what I said. This is a lot. Okay, so I'm going to do something a little different here. This is an album review or album recommendation channel, not even a review album, because I don't review stuff that I don't like. Anything I review here, again, is stuff that I think is worth a listen. At least one. Stuff that I like, stuff that I've replayed multiple times. I like them. I like the stuff but for the audience, the bar, I'm setting it a little bit lower. At least it's worth one listen, right? This is going to be an album / movie review. So I'm going to need to lean heavy on some notes. So I'm going to be reading notes. I mean, I usually read notes, but it's probably going to be way more obvious. I'm going to do like explicitly this time for this thing. The album in this case is the soundtrack. But I have seen the movie. So spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. I mean, I'm saying it now, right? I'm covered. Am I covered? I think I'm officially covered, right? From here on out, the rest of this video, all spoilers. If you haven't seen the movie Sinners, the musical Sinners by Ryan Coogler. I mean, did you know Ryan Coogler just put out his first musical ever? Awesome for his career. Amazing, amazing musical. All right, overall, you know, not bearing the lead. It's a good movie. But if you haven't seen it yet, you know, hopefully you liked and subscribed to this channel so that you can come back. So when you see the movie, you know, I mean, you can take part of this conversation. It's happening in the comments now. Okay. I was, okay, a little bit about me. I don't watch trailers for anything. Well, about anything. I don't watch trailers for movies that I'm anticipating or movies that I want to see. Like, I'm big into the Marvel franchise. So if I hear a movie come out, if I know, like this movie coming out, damn, what is this joint called? It's a new Marvel coming out. It's called the I don't even remember what it's called. I'm not gonna look it up, but I know it's coming out. I haven't watched the trailer. I don't even remember the name of the movie. Right? I want to be completely surprised. I was upset when which one was that? I think it was it might have been Civil War, when I somehow ended up watching the freaking trailer or caught a glimpse of a trailer and Spider-Man was introduced right into the universe. And I was like, oh damn, I would have liked to have that surprise in real time in the theater. But it's been since way before then. Either way, I don't watch trailers. I rarely watch trailers. If it's a movie that I'm like, whatever, not really like, whatever. Like for example, the Minecraft movie. I want to see that. I haven't seen it yet, but I've seen the trailer and I haven't bristled at it. I haven't seen the full trailer. I haven't listened to it. I haven't locked it in on it. But I hear it's enjoyable, so I'll go check it out. And I've seen the trailer, but I had no idea what Sinners was about. I was off of anything that ever like brought this up. But I didn't even know Michael B. Jordan was playing twins. I didn't even know he was playing twins in this joint. I knew it was a horror. I didn't know it was about vampires. This is not a movie review space, so I'm not going to do the full deep dive like this movie deserves. But I do have to touch on a particular aspect, and I'm going to dive a little deeper into that. There's just, I would have to start a whole new channel to dissect all the stuff that Coogler is putting out on this thing, from the religious aspect, from um the fact that Sammy is this younger cousin trying to live up to the expectations or the standards of his elder cousins, especially when we talk about sexuality. And we talked about this before, right? With the older people projecting what masculinity is to the younger generation. Like that's a whole freaking conversation about that. I think this ain't the space for it, man. I hope somebody dives into something like that. There's a whole conversation about um colorism. There's a there's a big colorism conversation here. We're talking about the characters of of Annie and Mary, Steinfeld, and what's her name? What's her name? Wumi, that they play. There's a whole conversation of colorism there. Freaking Haley ends up being the emissary. Oh, there's just so much to dissect in this thing, and then ends up being the catalyst to the whole. Is Yo, I wish somebody really does a deep dive into this. Could be somebody's dissertation. This movie, Ryan Coogler, my man's. This could be somebody's dissertation, just dissecting this film, not even movie, freaking film. So I could talk about that. I could talk about the cultural appropriation. I could talk about the culture vulture thing, which that's what I'm going to focus on, the culture vulture part. There's just so much going on that erasure, all of that. I'm gonna just I'm gonna focus on the vampires, who I didn't even know existed before I saw the movie. Didn't even realize they were part of the movie. I'm gonna paint a picture on kind of who they are and kind of like the role they play in telling this story. We talk about culture vultures in hip hop. We talk about culture vultures in black um culture in general, right? In the black experience. These vampires in this movie kind of represent that. So as I'm doing this, because it's not a movie, I'm not used to this. This is not a movie review page or channel. Um, I'm gonna lean on my notes here. So I'm gonna be doing some direct reading here. First, first piece of the picture here. We're trying to paint about who these vampires are in this movie. First piece. The vampires and sinners aren't simply monsters. They represent mainstream culture, or more precisely, the moniker that threatens to absorb, dilute, and homogenize marginalized unique cultural experiences. They feed not just on blood, but on cultural originality. These are the culture vultures we're talking about. These are the Post Malones. These are the Justin Biebers, the Justin Timberlakes that didn't go and make a fucking country album. Post Malone, who named himself after Malone, Carl Malone, shit talks hip hop, extracts his fame and fortune from that, and goes right on into country music purposefully, and then gets like fucking nominated for like best country album. I don't know if he, I don't think he won that shit, but he won. I think he might have won he might have won um one of the categories for something. But like these are the culture vultures, cultural vampires, and when you try to gatekeep, God forbid, but you have plenty of these fucking examples out here. That's one aspect. Then there's the lore that some people's music is so powerful it awakens evil spirits. And Sammy is the artist the vampires want most because he's important. He's singular. There's this unicorn, and that's their freaking angle. If they can get the unicorn, they can get the fucking rest of us. Um, Sammy, his role in this thing, I talked about that scene, that one scene where he's like, he's playing this, his big moment on stage. I lied to you. He's talking about I lied to you, father. He's called a preacher's son, right? Uh, and they see that he's special. And that scene happens where it transcends the freaking room and everybody is just like Shake Shack, right? This is the juke joint we're talking about. And everybody's just lost in the moment. And you're crossing between dimensions, you're crossing between timelines. And because it's so powerful what's happening there, these vampires over there like, whoa, whoa, you got my attention. You got my attention. Like, what's happening over here? And this is when they try to infiltrate. And what got their attention is Sammy, the singular figure. So if they can get through him, if they can get him, they can get the collective. They can get the rest of us. The vampires are also Irish folk singers. Plays for laughs, but for Coogler, this is thematically smart. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about the Irish thing in a second, but let's put a pin in that. Elements like needing to be invited take on a new weight. These are still vampires. And so when it comes to, again, all the nerdy shit that I'm talking about, all this freaking nuance, fucking just like thinking is like my third eye kind of bullshit. If you just want to go watch a movie, have a good time, this is fun. Music is fucking vibing, is vibing, and you want some tropes, you can get that. You can pull back, detach from it, and be like, oh, there's still the whole vampire thing. They still get stabbed. You still stab them in the heart with a stake. That kills them. The whole sunlight thing, oh, that kills them. You have the whole you have to invite them in. Although I don't think you had to invite them into like your home. I don't remember if there was like a home though in Blade that would require like an abode, right? Like somebody has to like this is my residence kind of thing, where somebody has to like would require somebody to invite them in. If I remember, it all happens in some like in like a lot of different like shared spaces, whether it's a warehouse or like a sewer situation or like some dungeon situation. I'm still looking forward to the new Blade movie whenever that comes out. Um, so it still has those tropes for the vampire. So you still have that. So we're gonna keep that as an aspect of what this character of the vampires, amorphous as it um, is being defined as. Interestingly, the movie doesn't paint vampires as the worst threat. While they're dangerous, they're more symbolic as a temptation. They offer assimilation, which may protect you, but at the cost of your identity. The true um, zenith of villainy in this movie is white supremacy. It's the Klan. It's white supremacy. Like I come back to this all the time. It comes back to slavery and white supremacy. This is like you could distill down all of this shit, our entire experience in this year of our Lord 2025, down to white supremacy. and racism and slavery. It's straight up like okay, let me okay. So okay, that's our character, the vampire, right? I think it's very purposeful that the main vampire that Coogler picks uh to portray is is Irish, is culturally Irish. The Irish have historically been portrayed as a downtrodden um minority group, just like the Chinese, who also have representation in this movie, and and black characters. I think that this movie, the way it's set up, allows whiteness to be, again, whiteness is a character that represents appropriation, but it's also a tragic cost that comes with it because it the assimilation means you lose part of yourself. There's this layer that there's this scene where Native Americans come knocking at the door of this freaking standalone house. And they're like, we're hunting somebody. And they didn't say we're hunting somebody, but we're looking for somebody, right? And they get welcomed with a shotgun. Get the fuck out of here, is what it was like, right? Okay. And the Native Americans are like, all right, we tried. But the house that they knocked on is a house of some Klansmen, some KKK people. They don't know this, right? They see the shotgun though. They're like, yo, we're looking for this dude. We're trying to tell you, you know, all right, fine. We gonna go. They bounce. Turns out earlier, this dude, the main vampire guy, Irish archetype, knocked on their door and convinced them to let him in. Remember that invite I talked about earlier? Stop me if you heard this before. Polish, Italians, Jews. White supremacy has invited y'all in over the decades, over a century now. Y'all, y'all was looked at like y'all was trash as well. We could see it happening now in real time with Hispanic Americans. With proximity to whiteness, the if you're passing, you're welcome aboard. But when you're welcome aboard to whiteness, there's a supremacy that comes with that.
Well, these guys can't really become Americans. I mean, they're as American as anyone, right? But that's not how they were perceived when they first came here. And many Irish immigrants distanced themselves from other marginalized groups to try to protect themselves, especially Black Americans. They did begin to align themselves politically with white Anglo-Saxon Protestants, even though most of them, like my family, were Catholic.
And you're asking to be part of that thing. You're not, it's not a melting pot. They're not assimilating to your Polish culture. They're not assimilating to your Hispanic culture. They're not doing any of that. No, they're whitewashing you and your history. I'm just warning y'all. Eventually, when they get the numbers that they need for the end goals, you a nigga to them too. there's a history. There's a long connection with Black people and Irish people, actually. A connection, a community. Take take tap dancing.
Irish and blacks tended to share the same neighborhoods. So if you went to the Irish neighborhood in New York, that was also where Little Africa was located. So there was a lot of fear among outsiders that there was a lot of racial intermixing, a lot of interracial marriage, and a lot of interracial sharing of cultures and so on. We see today that this is what ultimately produces something like tap dance, which is a combination of Irish steps and African traditional steps born in a place in New York City in an Irish black neighborhood.
The cultures are mixing. There's intermarriage happening. There's interrelations happening. You know, we're both in the slums together. You know, the Irish people will look down as like they were monkeys too. Straight up, like no, literal. They were looked at like they were monkeys. They had cartoon depictions of them as if they were subhuman. But we found a camaraderie. This is something that I talk about all the time with our society today. It's not, it's like there's these like privileged rich people that have all the resources versus the rest of us. When we talk about police brutality, when we're talking about like job opportunity, when we're talking about education, these rich white supremacists have convinced the rest of us that we should fight each other just because we don't look alike. But it ain't about what we look like. It's about what our bank statements say. And that's the difference. It's the class difference that they talking about. And they see this and they know that that's all that matters to them because it gives them the access to the private jets. It gives them the access to the exclusive resorts. It gives them the access to just the freaking price of eggs. God damn it. You want the freaking omelet, don't you? I like an omelet every now and then. But if they can keep us separated, and they've been doing this since fucking slavery, we can bring this back. Poor White Trash. Read that goddamn book. I can't recommend this book enough. It's called White Trash. I'll put it up. You can see it again. Read this goddamn book. They've been pitting us against each other this entire time. Irish folks and black people, we have a lot in common in our collective struggle. I'm not trying to do no woke Olympics thing, but as much as I can relate, and I want the Irish folk to relate, and this movie kind of like touches on that. There's a difference. Yes, they were colonized people. They're colonized by the English. Their Christianity was overwritten. Their language and their religion was just like whitewashed. They were oppressed, with much of the same living conditions and physical abuse as slave labor. But there's a distinction. Slavery, chattel slavery versus indentured servitude. They're not the same. There's a popular misconception that has been brewing probably for over a decade now. I don't know. I don't know how long. It's been a while. This misconception is that the first slaves in the Americas were not black, were not from Africa. They were actually Irish men and women that were enslaved by the English Caribbean sugar plantations in conditions much worse than the Africans had endured. This myth is a deliberate goddamn lie. And the thing about it is that it's not to diminish the struggles of the Irish people or even to it, it's all just to the whole point of it is to be able for them to say that black slaves were in the same kind of condition as Irish indentured servants. So it's like, oh, the black people were just like indentured servants. It wasn't as brutal and as potent and as bad as we make it out to be. Because look at these Irish, they were the same as the blacks, and and they were able to get land at the end of the day. After all that, they were able to become overseers. No, there was a unique, specific chattel slavery experience if you had skin that looked like mine. And you know what a lot of these Irish people did at the time? They ate it up. They assimilated. A lot of them at the time. Not everybody, but a lot of them. Now, with that said, the end of the movie ends with Michael B. Jordan going straight Rambo, right? On some Klansmen, on the KKK. It's a little tropey, little black, you know, black exploitation tropey kind of thing. But I'll allow it. It's actually a brilliant turn. It's actually a brilliant turn that the vampires at the end of the day. So I said all that stuff, right? Love Irish people, love the way that they're represented in this they have representation here in this movie. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say that much. But they're not the most evil characters in this thing. We talked about the Klansmen. The Klansmen are not prominent. This whole movie is not about trauma porn. It's not about black oppression and all that kind of stuff, right? We're not. It's not. But there's a hint of them in the beginning, and there's a hint of them at the end. And in the end, Michael B. Jordan just fucking like freaking pops off on all these motherfuckers, right? At least one of the characters that Michael B. Jordan does. The vampires aren't the biggest bad guy in this thing. Matter of fact, they have redeemable qualities. They're even empathetic at certain points. The real villains are is white supremacy. The vampires in this joint, the Irish vampires, recognize that yo, we were victims of this colonization too. You, Sammy, are leaning into this. You're the preacher's boy. They call him preacher's boy. That's the church. That ain't your religion. You were fed that and told to obey that. And obeying that meant slaves obey your masters. That's what that was about. So the Irish vampires are like, yo, why not, you know, join our side? The most convincing argument that the vampires are making in this thing is that assimilate to us. We're growing this collective. We're growing this hive mind kind of thing. The racists were gonna kill you anyways. Join us. Forget the uniqueness about you. Join us. I'm a cultural vampire. Let's just bring it to this big old melting pot kind of thing. I'm usually a fan of melting pot, but not when it results in erasure. I don't want to. I don't want a. I don't want a. What's that? What would that be like? I don't know what kind of soup it would be, but I'd rather a gumbo. A gumbo it still has its components. The shrimp, you taste the shrimp. The rice, you taste the rice. You get a bite of sausage, you get the bite of sausage. Like, there's a pepper there. Okay, boom, there's a pepper. I'm tasting the pepper there. It's all mixed to make one joyful experience, one cohesive experience, but like each characteristic is unique to itself. But the vampires are trying to get, yo, let me get in this party. Let me bite you. Let me help you. You're gonna bring your culture in. I'm gonna absorb you, and then like we just become this like monolithic thing. Why not join this mainstream culture we're building? Why not use their system against them? Why not use capitalism against them? Why not use the military against them? Shit, this movie is just a fucking extension of Black Panther. And not just that Ryan Coogler grew up with Black Panthers, right? He grew up with Black Panthers, but like this is Killmonger's manifesto. This is what Killmonger was talking about when he was like, the world will be rebuilt or the world will start over, and this time we're on top. That's what Killmonger said. He's like, with the vibranium, we have the resources. We're gonna do everything that they did to us. This time we're on top because we have the vibranium. These vampires are kind of saying that message. They're saying like, yo, they fucked you over. They fucked us over too. We found this thing, vampirism, in this case, whatever power that may be, we found this thing that can give us the upper hand. Like it's almost empathy. I can like, okay, I'm not signing up. I'm not signing up to get my, like, get me right. What I mean? I'm not signing to get my neck bit, but like, I could see where they're coming from. I could see where Killmonger was coming from. You kind of want to get your get back. You kind of want to get your get back. But at the end of the day, philosophically speaking, me myself, I don't know if I want to live forever. That's just me. But the movie is deep. It ain't no From Dusk Till Dawn. This joint is deep. It's literally there's some depth here. There's some like dissection that needs to happen. There's so much that I mean I'm just talking about the vampire part. There's so many other characters that need to be explored. There's so many aspects that just needs to be untangled. Um, you could even have a Sinners too. Like those Native Americans, what did they see? What do they know? What was their journey like? Um, at the end, we have Buddy Guy. You can have a whole Buddy Guy story. Yo, do we have a Buddy Guy biopic? What the blood clot? Wait a minute. Let me look this up. We're gonna do this live. Oh, snap. Okay, so I don't know if this is a oh, shout out Larry Clark Jr. Look at this, the Buddy Guy, The Blues Chase the Blues Away. This came out in 2021. Yo, there's so much that needs to be explored with this movie. Is this a biopic, a documentary, or what? I don't know. Buddy Guy plays himself. Garrett Clark Jr. plays himself. Yo, I think this is just a doc. I think this is I think it's a documentary. I'm gonna need to watch this. You can get it on Amazon Prime for $4, looks like. Shout out capitalism, right? But yo, Buddy Guy, a Chicago blues legend, shaped his music through his experiences in the Windy City, influencing generations of musicians and performing at the Obama White House. His life is documented in Buddy Guy, the blues chase the blues away. I'm gonna need to check that out. There's just so much going on. Ryan Coogler, man, shout out to you for bringing this whole thing into the forefront, into all of our collective awareness. Yo, and also shout out to Michael B. Jordan. This is probably his best. Yo, this is okay. I'm gonna say it. Fuck it. This is Michael B. Jordan's best performance. This is the best performance he's ever given. Smoke and Stack. These are two characters, like complete different people. They're completely different people. They have their own mannerisms. They have their own personalities. They have their own interactions with people in the world. They have their own decision making. It's so freaking good. It's so freaking good to see Coogler like making these original films. Um, Instead of just the regular corporate IP. I mean, I love those projects, but the man knows how to make a movie with bona fide depth that's also still entertaining. Like even if you're looking just for like, oh, yeah, I'm just going to be entertained. I'm just looking for a horror movie. Oh, I hear there's vampires. I like vampires. Every few years, there's either zombies or vampires. Something like we haven't had a good zombie movie in a while. I think there's a zombie TV show now with Kevin Bacon. Maybe I might need to check that out. But it's like you go zombies, vampires, and then zombies and vampires, and it's supposed to say it's a whole commentary on liberals versus conservatives, what's happening depending on the political like manifestation in the real world, and what's happening in the art world. So like art imitating life or life imitating art kind of thing going on. But vampire flick. This movie is going to be talked about and thought about and written about for years and years to come. I already can't wait to rewatch it. At least a dozen more times.